The plate scraped toward me like a verdict, porcelain on linen. Empty. My mother's hand lingered on the edge, fingers manicured, steady. Too steady. The restaurant was loud in that curated way, forks chiming, laughter staged for photos, butter and garlic hanging thick in the air. My sister's kids tore into lobster with small, greasy hands, red shells cracked. Cake waited behind them wide and tall, already paid for. My daughter sat beside me, feet swinging above the floor, staring at the empty plate like it was a puzzle she had solved wrong. "We didn't order for your daughter," my mom said, smiling without warmth. My dad chuckled, napkin tucked under his chin. "You know how tight money is. You should have brought snacks." Something inside me went very still. I smiled. I always smiled before I ended things. And when the waiter came back, pen ready, I stood up. That's where it began. Or ended. I still can't tell. I remember how the room tilted when I stood, chairs paused. My sister looked up, lobster fork midair, eyes sharp with warning. My daughter tugged my sleeve once, a small, confused pull. I didn't look at her. "Not yet." I said nothing at first. Silence is a blade if you know how to hold it. They thought I was embarrassed. That was the mistake they always made. I was the youngest. The reasonable one. The one who paid their own way, didn't ask for help, didn't make waves. I had learned early that survival in this family meant becoming small enough to step over. Tonight they had decided my child was collateral. The waiter cleared his throat. "Is everything okay?" I nodded. Measured. "Actually yes, I just need to make an announcement." My mother's smile faltered. My dad leaned back, sensing entertainment. My sister's eyes narrowed, already calculating damage control. This was not impulse. This was timing. They hadn't always been so obvious, the imbalance had been there forever. Hiding in birthdays where my gifts came with price tags still on, in holidays where my presence was expected but my needs were inconvenient. My sister's children were investments. Mine was an expense, I had tried to explain once. Years ago. Quietly, reasonably, that conversation ended with my mother crying, my father accusing me of being dramatic, and my sister telling me I was jealous. So I learned instead. Learn to watch, learn to wait. Red flags are only red if you let yourself see them. The first sign tonight came before the menace. My mom insisted we order, family style. My sister nodded eagerly. I noticed no one asked what my daughter liked. The second came when the waiter read back the order. 4 lobsters. 2 steaks, appetizers stacked like trophies. Not a word about a kid's meal. The third was the look my mother gave me when I opened my mouth, sharp, preemptive. A warning wrapped in lipstick. I let it go. I always let it go. Until they slid the empty plate. Betrayal doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it shows up smiling, confident you won't push back. I watched my daughter's face carefully. The way she tried to be brave. The way she said nothing. The way she learned, in real time, where she ranked. That was the breaking point, not the money. Not the insult. The lesson. I had promised myself she would never learn the survival tricks I did. So when I stood, I wasn't angry, I was finished. "Before we continue," I said, voice steady, "I want to clarify something." The waiter froze. Nearby tables leaned in, curiosity blooming. "My parents," I gestured lightly, "just told me they didn't order food for my daughter." My mother laughed, high and brittle. Don't be dramatic." I turned to the waiter. "Could you tell me the total so far?" He hesitated, glanced at my sister. She shrugged, irritated. "It's $120, he said. I nodded. "For lobster and cake." My dad smirked. "We're celebrating, you understand," I said. "I do." I reached into my bag. This was the part they didn't expect. Years earlier, when my father had needed help refinancing the house, I had co-signed, quietly, no party, no thanks. When my mother had asked me to manage their online accounts because she didn't trust the internet, I did. When my sister needed someone to cover a gap, I covered it. I kept records. Screenshots. Emails. Payment histories, not because I planned revenge, because I planned survival. People like them mistake silence for weakness. They forget silence can be strategic. I placed my phone on the table and slid it toward my mother. "Do you recognize this account?" I asked. Her face drained of color. It was the joint savings account. The one she'd been skimming from for years. Small amounts. Assuming no one noticed. "I manage your finances," I said softly. "I see everything." My sister scoffed. "What does that have to do with dinner?" I turned to her. Do you want to explain the credit card in your name that Dad's been using? My father stiffened. The laugh died halfway out of him. The room had gone very quiet. Gaslighting came next. Predictable. You're imagining things. You're overreacting. This isn't the place. I nodded through it, absorbing the hits without flinching. Then I stood straighter. I've already sent the records to an accountant, I said, and a lawyer, just to understand my liability. My mother reached for the phone. I pulled it back. And I added, I won't be signing anything ever again. My dad's voice dropped. You wouldn't. I already did. That was the twist they never saw coming. I had leverage, not loud leverage. Quiet, documented, irrefutable. Power doesn't have to announce itself. It just has to exist. My sister pushed her chair back, furious. You're ruining this. I finally looked at my daughter. I knelt beside her. Eye level. Do you want cake or fries? Her eyes widened. Freeze, I smiled. A real one this time. I stood and addressed the waiter. Please cancel my portion of the order. And add a kid's meal. Freeze, extra ketchup. He nodded immediately. Relief flickered across his face. My mother stood now shaking. You're embarrassing us. No, I said. You did that. The check came. I paid for my daughter's meal, only that. I left a generous tip. Then I picked up my coat. They didn't chase me. They never do when they know the ground has shifted. Outside, the night air was cold and clean. My daughter had my hand fries warm between us. Why were they mean? She asked. I thought carefully. Sometimes, I said, people don't like being reminded of who they really are. She nodded, accepting that the way children accept truths adults struggle with. The fallout came quietly, accounts frozen, calls unanswered. A message from my sister that read like a threat and a plea stitched together. I saved it. I always save everything. I didn't press charges. I didn't have to. Boundaries can be punishment enough. They lost access. Lost control. Lost the assumption that I would absorb whatever they decided to dish out. Justice doesn't always wear handcuffs. Sometimes it wears silence. I think about that empty plate sometimes. How deliberate it was. How confident. They thought the worst thing they could do was deny my child a meal. They were wrong. The worst thing they did was remind me who I had become. And who I was done being. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flip tables. I didn't need applause. I stood, I spoke. I left, and in that moment, with a room full of witnesses and no one laughing anymore, I finally ordered exactly what I deserved: freedom, quiet, undeniable.